Conservancy, as the backbone organization, also acts sort of as the fiscal agent. So they could possibly receive that funding. But if, for instance, it was a grant specifically for Marin County Open Space District project, we would probably work in partnership with the Conservancy. But in fact, we would receive that money to do the project. So it sort of depends on the situation.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if I could add, I think one thing that the collaborative does is really leverage the opportunity to look at, for example, under Proposition 1 wetlands funding, if 3 of the partners have wetlands projects that are really ready to go, and they have many values that, as a package, really further push and elevate the other projects, that's one of the values that we've been talking about. How do you leverage those, what would be individual opportunities, into one larger opportunity that we could accomplish successfully together?
So wonderful collaboration. It's quite a model.
I'm sorry, Pat?
It's quite a model, the collaboration.
One thing, it's interesting because, again, having worked for the last couple of decades in this work, I've really seen an emergence, especially in the last decade, and more recent in the last 5 years, of what are being called large landscape collaboratives. You know, you think of the Rocky Mountains, you think of the Everglades, and there's an almost, especially in the funding community, a real push for wanting to have agency partners work together across jurisdictional boundaries, not only from the visitor experience, but for the ecological values, for all those different dimensions of land management. So we're seeing a lot more focus on this, and in fact, this particular collaborative is an area of focus of research. It's what we believe is some of the first research of its kind in the country, to look at the values and impacts and benefits of land managers working together in a collaborative framework. And while there's been a lot of studies over time, there hasn't been studies that quantify those values. And so we're a part of a 5-year study that was funded by the Bechtel Foundation to actually have our partners studied by researchers from Sacramento State, and actually also working with Nina somewhat on that. So it's going to be really interesting, I think, the next 4 years to actually be able to say, what are those values, what are those impacts, and do things we perceive, how real are they, and in what way can we use those to leverage further opportunity and support.
Well, thank you, Hawk. And let's go to the next item on the agenda, the Measure A community grants.